Hello, Clarice.
It's alive! It's alive!
We accept a one of us.
I kick ass for the Lord.
I want to play a game.
They're here.
Who will dare to face the challenge of the podcast? Who is brave enough? How about you, sir?
Hello and welcome to episode 31 of Three Basket Cases. We are Three Basket Cases on all social media and Three Basket Cases podcast at Gmail if you want to email us. We are doing 1981's The Funhouse today, and Peter is going to do the walkthrough. So take it away, Peter.
All right, let's start. So I think we got to start by saying the opening credits are awesome.
Very cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to say that. They basically, I researched it a bit. They found a 9-year-old woman who made a bunch of these puppets. Some were featured in the Chicago World Fair, which I know was 1893, unless there's another one. They're all pretty damn old.
Yeah, a lot of the 70s and 80s movies showed all the credits in the beginning, and so the intro was like super long. We saw that with Maniac Cop, where he's just putting on his outfit for 5 minutes. But these puppets were all really cool, so it was actually fun to look at.
Yeah, every one of them was good. They rented them from her for the movie and throughout the Funhouse. And then Tobe Hooper ended up buying a bunch of them, and he kept them in his house.
Oh, nice.
So, you know, the Winston Churchill and the Humpty Dumpty were just kind of in his living room. Tell me you wouldn't love to get your hands on a few of those.
So Tobe Hooper, the director, directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
he was asked by Spielberg to direct E.T., but he was busy filming this.
What? Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Are you thinking of Poltergeist? No.
No, he teamed up with Spielberg to
E.T.
do Poltergeist afterwards.
Yeah, bloody hell. I watched Poltergeist last night. Good. Okay. So the movie opens with an homage to Psycho and Halloween. You got the shower scene and a through-the-mask view of a kid heading to kill his sister in the shower. The director, Tobe Hooper, confirms that this is an homage to Carpenter and not just a blatant ripoff.
Okay.
Apparently
I'm not sure.
Apparently they were going to have the original opening scene be Gunther attacking and raping some teenage girls from like a previous stop at the carnival. But then they decided to change it to what they had.
That's really funny you say that, because my next note is my idea of what a better opening would be. I mean, I'm not kind of on board with the little homage thing, or homage. I don't
The
know,
H is
homage.
silent. Homage.
Yeah, silent. All right, so I mean, I saw Halloween, I saw Psycho, and this is a Tobe Hooper movie. He did Texas Chainsaw. He's coming off Salem's Lot. I'm there to watch his movie. But anyhow, what I wrote down was it would have been a much better opening if they had a couple of kids from the carnival there getting killed off, you know, so you know what's going on. Maybe like 10 years ago, maybe traveling through another town. But anyhow, her brother is in fact playing a trick on her, and he stabs her naked body in the shower with a rubber knife. And that's sort of the opening and the homage. I mean,
Well, I mean, how fucking crazy is this kid?
Right.
What the fuck? Like, are you kidding me?
I'm an only
Like,
child.
what a fucking perv. Like,
Seriously.
Yeah. I can't speak with any authority of sibling dynamics, but wow, it seemed off. I mean, Jay, you have a sister. Thoughts on this?
I would never in a million years do that. And if the roles were reversed, I would think that would be creepy as hell.
Yeah.
We'd
But it was-
definitely be sitting at opposite ends at the Thanksgiving table. I'll tell you that much.
Right.
Yeah,
I was
super
like,
creepy.
My God, please don't do that to your sister.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool though. I liked the cutout eyes and the mask and the Halloween.
It was well
vibes
done.
they
It
got
was
there.
just
I thought
it
it
was
was kind of
creepy.
cool, but it was just it was creepy. Number one, and then it didn't really add anything.
No, it was just
No, I
like,
would have rather have seen 2 kids killed in the funhouse from another location.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then you go back to the kids' room and it's filled with horror stuff, like from Frankenstein and other things, you know, that were property of Universal. And then there's a bunch of like medieval torture devices on the wall and like a cage with a dozen mice in it. I mean,
It was
if this was my kid, I'd have my eyes wide open, man.
it was basically the kid from Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Yeah, but didn't seem creepy, which made it creepier. So there's a winking ventriloquist dummy. It started off on the wall, and then it ended up in the bed with a knife through its head and somehow blood. So this ventriloquist head and a few other props were from Sherry Lewis of Sherry Lewis and Lamb Chop fame. Do you
I
know
was
who
about
that
to
is?
say, is that Lamb
Yeah.
Chop? Yeah.
That's Lamb Chop, right? I've never seen Lamb Chop, but I watched a few of them, and holy Christ, the two of them terrifying. But it kind of begs the question. Like she has a children's show for toddlers, and these props were used in it, and then they could also blend very easily into a slasher film.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you did give us that Happy Easter promo with the creepy Easter bunny. So I mean,
Right.
kids back then were built differently.
I guess they were. Yeah. So anyway, Amy comes down. She's now off on a date with Buzz, the Carnival, despite her parents warning her that there was trouble at another location. Maybe if they did the opening I thought of and you said they were going to do, that trouble could have been given some context. I'm not going to let it go because I didn't love the opening.
And as is normal for 70s and 80s movies, Buzz is a high school kid who's 30 years old.
He was actually, the actor was in fact 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, going back to Rob Zombie for a second here,
Mm-hmm.
halfway
Please.
through, I was like, wow, this would be a perfect movie for Rob Zombie to do a remake.
I read that, I don't know, this was a few years ago, but the writer, Larry Block, owns the rights to it. And he said, oh, working on something. But I don't know if it's ever going to get remade.
I mean, let me preface that. If Rob Zombie did it and he had another director to kind of rein him in, because if he did it, all the kids would be unlikable.
Yeah.
And you just want them all to die.
Yeah.
Right. And
So-
they would all be in a metal band.
Right, they'd all look greasy and gross and everything. And they'd be
Right.
like, just fucking kill them. So
Every-
you need somebody
yeah.
to like rein them in to make the characters likable. But I think his aesthetic would have worked really well with this film.
Yeah. It would definitely, he would have had really cool looking carnies, but also all the teens would have looked like they were in the band Korn.
Yeah, that's the problem I can't get past. So anyhow, she's off on a date too. She's gonna pick up her friends Liz and Richie, and Buzz gets her in a car. I don't know, some kind of a muscle car, and they head off to the carnival, smoking pot, telling jokes. And there's this joke that comes up a few times about a dancing duck. It's kind of funny because Buzz is pretty stoned, and he feels the need to explain this joke to Amy every time, and it's good because I didn't really get it either. But the way he explains it is kind of funny. Do we have this?
Yeah. I didn't understand the joke at all, but here's the punchline, I guess.
Amy, the duck doesn't actually dance. It burns its feet on the hot plate. Earth to Mars, come in, Amy.
I don't
So I
understand
guess
any of that.
I guess the idea is there's a duck somehow that they channeled and they have in a location. They put the duck on a hot plate and they turn the hot plate on. The duck burns his feet and then jumps around and dances. And
But
he
you guys-
comes back to this joke later, so it's important that that everybody understands it for some reason.
Are you guys letting your daughter go on a date with Buzz, the gas station attendant?
I don't think so.
I don't like that he's 30.
Well, no, but regardless, he's a gas station attendant who drives up, beeps his horn to get your daughter to come out the door.
Not only just
instead
beeps
of
it,
walking
he
up.
beeps it like 100 times.
It's Buzz. You have to wake up the whole damn...
Right, and then peels out as soon as she gets into the car.
Yeah.
Although I will say the casting here is pretty interesting. I mean, I thought Liz and Richie are Bob and Linda from Halloween. I mean, she's a hot titsy blonde and he's like a bonehead with brown hair and large glasses. Did you guys catch that at all?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the resemblance is pretty striking to me. I like the four of them. I thought Amy was the standout, in my opinion.
Mhm.
So anyhow, they head off to the carnival. There's a bunch of shots of the kids at the carnival, and what's interesting is they hired a real carnival that was off season and therefore on hiatus, so they kind of had everything they need. And I think they even hired some of the Carney folks as extras. Smart move.
So I have to say that the next 20, 30, maybe 30 minutes of this movie is just them doing carnival stuff at the carnival.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
To that.
I was wondering why they were so excited, but this is way cooler than any carnival I've been to.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of cool things. I think if I'm being critical, I think they could have got to the finals a little quicker, but they do have a series of things they go to, and they're
I think upon rewatch I might be a little more bored, but I really enjoyed it my first watch through because I was kind of fascinated. I'm like, oh, their carnivals have fortune tellers and magic shows by a really drunk guy and deformed animals, and like I didn't have any of that. It was just
no.
it was a couple rides and some scam games and some overpriced food, and those are the carnivals we grew up with.
I read it. I listened to a documentary about the screenwriter who said that the way he did it is he had before they got to the Funhouse, he wanted to have every attraction get a little bit dicier. Some things were cut out and things were reordered, so it didn't really. It's like you're kind of a slow descent into the belly of the beast. He said that things were edited and changed around, so it wasn't quite the effect he wanted the way he wrote it. But there are a lot of things. So, so they're going from ride to ride, and the first thing is you got this like crazy Ralph type lady that shows up in the bathroom. And she's like, "God is watching you." I could take or leave her, but
I would rather leave her. But did you
Yes.
look at her IMDb?
no.
I love IMDb deep dive. So this lady has played patient, old woman in hospital, elderly woman, bag lady again, back to back movies, and old woman.
She's probably in this
Little
movie. She's probably like
typecast.
31 too. But more interesting in this scene, Tobe Hooper, the director, was saying that it was right around here when he was bit by a brown recluse spider.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want that.
I don't know, but is that like a really bad spider to get bit by?
Yeah, it's
Doesn't
like
that cause necrosis and
yeah, it's like black. It's probably like Black Widow ballpark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So then we go to, like you're saying, some freak animals. You got a cow with two heads and a cow with a cleft lip. And these were actually real things. They scouted out various places they could find anomalies of nature, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we got that. That'll work. Yeah, send us that. We'll take that cow with two heads." The cow with two heads was a find, right? I mean, wow.
yeah, right.
Yeah, so before they go in, there's a carnival barker out there, and he keeps saying this.
They are authentic and they are alive. Alive.
So they're thinking about going in there for a while, and he's just saying that over and over and over. And I'm thinking, did other carnivals just have dead animals? Because he's really stressing the fact that they're alive.
I think he wants to point out that they're not fake, like they're not an animatronic thing, because they're actually living things.
Oh, well, he could have said real. Like, I'm
I
going
was
to
so fascinated
assume.
with this dude. He could have said anything. He could read the alphabet, and I would have been in. This guy's delivery was us. He sounded like exactly that. Like people who work at a fair should study him.
Yeah, yeah. But I was just like, if I go see an animal show, I'm assuming the animals are alive. I don't think you need to tell me that they're alive.
It would, yeah, it'd be kind of weird if you went into that tent and they were all dead.
Like, now I'm questioning everything that were there dead animal shows in the other town.
Give me $5 to see a dead rabbit. Oh yeah, that I did. That is dead. Yes, how weird, but dead. But there's also a gnarly fetus, which is actually the brother of the monster. The monster's name is Gunther. Did you guys know that?
Yeah. Gunther. He had a last name too. It was
Really?
Gunther Twybunt or Tweebunt.
The third?
Right.
Esquire? And his brother's name was Tad, so the fetus was his brother. Apparently. Is he called Gunther in the movie at all, or that's just...
I did not. I was going to ask you guys. I don't recall him ever being called Gunther.
No, and in IMDb, he's listed as the monster.
Right.
Yeah, I've listened to some commentaries from the director and the screenwriter. He's definitely Gunther. But lastly, we get the three carnival barkers here, all played by Kevin Conway. He's a great actor, as I was gushing about earlier. He said he would play this part, but he wanted to take on all three roles or he wouldn't be interested. And they're like, "Yep, sure, whatever you want." He was coming off a stint where he was on Broadway. He won a Tony Award for playing like the Elephant Man, or not the Elephant Man, but a role in the Elephant, or something to that effect. And they were like, "Yeah, we want him, whatever he wants." But at this point, the carnival's kind of beginning its like slow burn into dicey. And I guess it's worth mentioning, during all this, her brother is snuck out of the house and is walking to the carnival by himself.
It's a
And
completely.
He's 9.
He's 9 too. Like, this whole side story added absolutely nothing.
No, it was completely unnecessary. And if you've ever wondered why a 9-year-old shouldn't wander out of their house, like he's 5 minutes into his journey, a dog jumps him, a guy pulls a gun on him, and he's almost abducted. It's drama. It doesn't relate to the story at all, but... And then he makes it to the carnival and he dumps a sock full of money out to the cashier. He says, "1, please."
And then he asks, "Have you seen two couples on a double date?" As if the person taking his money hasn't seen 50 couples.
The entire
out on
town is
double
there.
dates.
The entire town
Right.
is there.
Everyone. As if they're gonna know.
And she's sorting through all the money that he dumped out with his sock. Like, dude, you're not 4. Get a wallet.
Right.
So there's another fake kill sequence, much like the beginning. We get kids, not the kid. That kid just wanders around doing something. I don't know. He pops up here and there. The 4 kids, they go to see a magician who impales a woman who is in a coffin and gives this whole long-winded speech about Dracula.
I actually
But she
enjoyed
wasn't.
that. The guy's
Yeah.
like sipping from his flask every couple seconds, and
Yeah, it was pretty good. Someone in the back yells, "Get a real job."
yeah. Why are you going? Why are you heckling a magician at a magic show?
Yeah, it was atmospheric, unnecessary, but cool, I think.
There was
Yeah.
there were a lot of cool things and a lot of unnecessary things in this movie.
Yeah, I agree.
You see, this is the whole part that I found interesting because we didn't have carnivals like that. Upon rewatch, I probably wouldn't find this nearly as interesting.
Well, I haven't seen it in a very long time. And I'm not saying I didn't like this movie at all. I'm just, ripping on it a little bit, but
Well, it's what we do.
it's what we do.
I mean,
I mean the whole Joey side story here provided nothing.
no.
No.
I
There
thought it
was
was
no
gonna.
payoff to it.
I thought it was gonna tie in at the end. They never even knew he was there.
Right. And I mean, the only thing was, I guess at the end, when he recalled back his sister telling him she would get even with him, maybe that's why he didn't tell his parents that his sister was in the funhouse.
Right. So, so he did another thing to her after doing something to her. So he just doubled down on being a dick to her, and she still never did anything to him.
Right, and the car is there too. So at this point, I mean, I'm thinking they've been abducted. I mean, the four of them are missing.
Right. The car
It's a
is
missing persons
there.
case at this point, right?
Yeah. Nobody seems concerned. They fast forwarding to the end, but they grab the kid and leave, and don't even think twice about the daughter.
He doesn't even think to bring it up.
No, no.
Right.
But
He doesn't
anyhow.
even ask. He doesn't say anything to his parents about the daughter or anything like that.
It was basically just 10 minutes of padding for this movie.
Yeah, it was a waste of my time.
Yeah.
So anyhow, the next scene, they're smoking pot behind a tent. This is kind of interesting. So this scene took probably about 7 or 8 takes to get it right when they're smoking pot there. And for purposes of consistency, the director was saying they had to keep the ride going. Like I think it was like the Cobra or something. It was going in a circle the whole time. So it was like 15, 20 minutes. And after this time, the director said he heard people like screaming in agony and crying and pleading because this you shouldn't be on this ride for more than 2 or 3 minutes. And then like people started vomiting everywhere because it was like
Show that.
15 minutes. And Tobe Hooper said he was sprayed with vomit from this ride because they forgot to turn it off because they needed consistency and they couldn't get the scene right.
That sounds like amazing B-roll. They could have just thrown in somebody throwing up. That would have been something.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder in the film itself. I mean, probably these people are, you're not going to hear them, but I mean, the people are probably in agony. It'd be funny if you could kind of go in close and see someone like vomiting or,
Yeah.
in a horrific agony. I don't know why that's funny, but happened. So next we have Madame Zena, the fortune teller. It's another kind of thing. It's cool. It's not in a fun house, but there she is.
No, it's like you go to a tent that's off in the corner and you get your fortune told. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And everything's
right,
like between $1 and $3, so it's not like, well, I don't know, maybe in 1980 that was expensive.
Yeah, and everything's interesting. She takes her job pretty seriously, which I think we could say is in sharp contrast to the kids who think of her as a joke. Spirals quickly, and I think we have the soundbite, right?
Yeah.
Don't come back or I'll break every bone in your fucking bodies. Beat it.
Yeah, that is the great Sylvia Miles, who
Well, I
has
mean,
been in all sorts of stuff.
They get
Like
like
Cowboy.
way too stoned for a calm reading. Like they're just giggling and like they can't handle it.
But what is her expectation? I mean, she's here for kids at a carnival. I mean, I would imagine 3/4 of them are stoned and don't really take her seriously. No one's going there to actually learn about their future, I wouldn't think. But after this, the crystal ball does roll back across the room, suggesting that there is some kind of a mystical power present. This goes nowhere. I guess the
Yeah,
carnival is just
but there's
completely
not.
yeah, yeah, but that's not real. So
Don't worry about that.
that went away. So the movie is finally now gravitating a bit more towards the funhouse. You have the Barker leaning into it a bit. He's like, "Who's brave enough to enter the funhouse?"
Actually,
And the kid-
I have that.
Oh, you do.
Who will dare to face the challenge of the funhouse? Who is brave enough? How about you, sir?
He does it better than me. So the kid meaning the kid, her brother, ends up there, and the guy dressed like Frankenstein puts him in the ride. He's working it. So then we get a POV of the kid as we enter into this funhouse. So it's finally we're finally getting somewhere. It's cool, lights, the objects, the colors, and this was shot with an anamorphic lens. I don't know what that is,
I don't
but
either.
I thought it was worth saying as long as there's no follow-up questions about it. Well, there it is. Tobe Hooper does gush about it in the commentary, though. I'm
All
not
right,
gonna
no
try
further
to-
questions on
Yeah,
that.
great. Let's move on. But anamorphic lens, and it's awesome. Thank God they used it. So we have one more attraction before we fully focus on the funhouse, and this is probably the best one, I think. It is an adult nude burlesque show. And like you said, I don't remember anything like this in the carnivals that came to my hometown, and I was from a shitty rural area in New Hampshire, so
And this
we're
is
above it.
this is the Barker in front.
They wiggle and they dance. They wiggle and they dance. They wiggle and they dance.
And interestingly, he seems to lock eyes with Amy at every attraction, and he does lock eyes right with her, and he says, like, they wiggle and they dance.
He like raises his eyebrow.
Yeah, and he's British for some reason, which is an interesting choice.
And
the girls in there were actually strippers from Miami.
Yeah.
They actually grabbed them, so they were real strippers.
Well, that was a club I do not want to go to because they were not attractive strippers.
Yeah, they're coming right from Miami, so you know they're going to be some spicy bitches throwing down, man.
The hottest one was like
tame.
Hottest one was like a 5.
Yeah. The whole thing is kind of bananas. So if I went through and I paused this scene a few times and rewound it, so in this audience of these strippers from Florida, there's a guy shaking what looks like a duck slipper at one of them, and another guy is smoking a corncob pipe for some reason. Another guy's dressed like a farmer from the Dust Bowl, holding a giant purple dinosaur in his lap. Everyone has a weird hat from a different region and era. Every time I paused it, I said out loud, what the Christ is happening here? It's worth going through that scene in slow motion and looking at the audience because it's insane. So I could be wrong about this, but in one of the commentaries, I did kind of a deep dive review commentaries, somebody, whether the director or the screenwriter, said what they wanted was they wanted these strippers to like shift and jerk like animatronic puppets to kind of be a macabre spectacle in the fashion that these other things in the Funhouse were, but somebody in production or one producer said, no, that's too stupid. No one's going to get it. It's too weird.
Yeah, that's
yeah, I agree with that person.
Definitely agree. That's ridiculous.
I think I would have liked it. Not sexually, but I think it would have been interesting.
It would have made no sense. The crowd just acting like robots. That makes no sense.
No, not the crowd, the strippers.
The stripper. Well, that makes no sense either.
That makes
a little more sense. I don't know. I mean, they're kind of like doing. I don't. I think it's true. I read it. It's like.
I mean, I'm sure it's true. It's just stupid.
It might. Yeah, I think I kind of liked it.
They're doing the dance from Friday the 13th 5. That girl who's dancing by herself.
So the movie's almost half over now, and it is time to get things moving into the Funhouse, finally. So Richie has his line after his 15th Larry Latner joke. Do you guys notice every 10 minutes he had a Larry Latner joke?
I didn't even know what that was.
Well, it's his gym teacher.
Oh, okay.
Who
So we weren't supposed to know what it was.
No, it was an inside joke about the gym teacher who apparently is not an attractive person, so he likened him to the two-headed cow, but it wasn't my gym teacher. We don't know what he looks like, so...
Yeah, it's a weird thing to leave in.
Yeah. Maybe if Larry Latner was the first kill of the movie instead of the homage...
Right.
There would have been some context. So he suggests they spend the night in the Funhouse, which, I mean, it's a pretty good plan outside of the violence of this movie. I mean, it'd be a great core memory as a child to have spent the night in a Funhouse. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a stony, like, yeah, let's spur of the moment, let's do that. Yeah, why not?
It's a great idea, but I mean...
It's a great idea.
If you're not going to do what they do following.
Right.
Yeah, as long as you don't get killed and all your friends. Minus that, it's pretty awesome. So this idea comes into play and is accentuated with the giant, fat, laughing lady. Can you say that? Up on the thing, shaking and like... which is kind of what I remember about this movie as a kid. So it's setting up the next scene where they do enter the Funhouse, and her brother is watching this for whatever reason as they go in. And like you said, honestly, I'm not even sure why he's in this movie. They keep cutting to him, and I'm waiting for him to do something relevant, and he just kind of walks 10 feet over there and, you know, sits down.
Yeah, literally.
But he must have been important. I mean, because part of the reason they chose to shoot this movie in Florida is because, first of all, because they had the carnivals were on hiatus, but also the child labor laws were a lot more lenient, so minors could work all night if they had like a waiver or something. So they shot the film there so that they could shoot him all night doing whatever it is he's doing. But I would have ditched that plot line entirely. But anyhow, they're in the Funhouse and it's now on. So we go through it and we get a sense of what this actually is finally. So it's finally time to go. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see it. Otherwise, it's kind of hard to describe, but think creepy old animatronic puppets mixed with like smoke, great light, shadows, colors, and a bunch of wacky crap.
It's a pretty legit Funhouse.
Yeah, it is. You know, shot with the anamorphic lens, which does make it quite cool, apparently. I mean, the production design itself is pretty rad. It's the guy's named Mort Rabinowitz, and everybody was kind of horny for this guy because he worked on a movie called They Shoot All the Horses, Don't They? Have you ever heard of that movie?
No.
Neither have I. It's basically a Sidney Pollack movie starring Jane Fonda from 1969. All these people show up at a dance contest and they dance, and the last person standing, everyone else is killed. So if you're the last person standing, you win. And you win $1,500. And then I watched the trailer, and they show up at a dance hall, but they're all running in a circle. It made no sense, but it seemed mildly interesting. So they jump off the ride, and the next bit is probably my favorite part of the movie. You got this great foreboding music, and the various animatronic puppets are turning off and shutting down, and they're like, turning down for the nights, and lights are turning off. I think it's like a really good, great atmospheric bit of filmmaking, in my opinion. The camera then heads outside, and it's on a crane, and the crane just kind of goes back up in the air over the funhouse. This great pan that shows the entire thing shutting down. And Carnival is creepy enough during the day, full of people, and now it's something else entirely. And let's get this movie going, right?
Yeah, with 20 minutes left.
Yeah, it's almost over. So then we go to the teens having sex in the funhouse, and they're about 10 feet away from each other.
Yeah.
It's funny because the movie I was deciding between this and another movie, and that movie I watched, and there's 12 people who end up in a furniture store, and they're all having sex with each other like 6 feet away. It's a giant store, and they're like couch to couch to couch to couch. I was like, is this a thing in the 80s? Just
chopping mall.
Yes, it is Chopping Mall. I almost didn't say it because this was going to be Chopping Mall, but it's the Funhouse. And then my next line is, I'm not going to say it because I might pick it, but yes, it's Chopping Mall.
You just gave it away.
Another one I haven't seen.
And actually, that was going to be for the two of you guys because it's got two of your people from TerraVision in it, and there's a death scene that Jay will go bananas for because it's as good or better than Deadly Friend.
All right.
So stay tuned, maybe at some point. They hear a noise in the room below and look through the slits in the floor. I don't know the structure of this. This is a traveling circus, and this place has a basement. I don't know.
I couldn't figure out what was going on with that either.
So they look down, and okay, how to describe this? We have the older, cleavage-heavy gypsy woman who has prostituted herself to the weird Frankenstein guy.
That's a sentence you don't hear very often.
Well, I'm not done.
Xena the gypsy, the fortune teller, right?
I assume the $100 he handed her is for sex. I don't know why I assume that, but she starts things off with a hand job, and he ejaculates immediately.
I don't even think she got that far.
No, she did. She did touch his penis because it's commented on. She's like, doesn't that feel good?
I think she just like rubs it outside the jeans. I don't think that counts as a handy.
So
we don't see his penis. I mean, he doesn't take his pants off. But yeah, she gives him an over the pan hand job.
Well, in the original script, he rips all her clothes off. She allows him to rape her, and he gets too wild and kills her. Yeah, so that was the original script.
Wait a minute. Through rape kills her? Like he just gets too wild, he has sex with her?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's choking her while they're having sex. I don't know. It just says he gets too wild and kills her.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he does choke her.
So many thoughts.
Yeah.
He impaled her.
So apparently there's a lot of like violence and nudity with the monster in the original script. And Dean Koontz made the novelization of this movie and left a lot of that in.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. He didn't put it in after the fact?
No, apparently he used a lot of the original script. The stuff he added after the fact was a lot of backstory to these characters. He wrote it under a pseudonym. Yeah, it doesn't say Dean Koontz on the novelization. It's like Owen something. But
yeah, but then years later he did take credit for it, though, didn't he?
Yeah.
He gets pissed off at the hand job he got from the carny because he came too quickly, saying that out loud is something, and he chokes her out and leaves her dead on a mattress.
Yes, he does.
But before that, he pushes into her fuse box, which kind of blasts sparks, and the animatronic puppets come to life and laugh. They kind of laugh out the scene. It looked cool, and I thought it was our first actual death.
In just the way the carnival rides, we saw the shot above while the carnival was shutting down. Did you notice as she was taking her last breath, all the animatronics in the room after she was shocked, they all kind of wound down and I think died at the same time she did.
Oh, that's interesting.
I thought that was a really cool idea, cool shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very good. All of these things were used very, very well, and I think a lot of times elevated the movie beyond what it was.
Yeah.
But anyhow, the kids see this and they decide they got to get out of the car. That was, they didn't bargain for that. The funhouse itself, is worth mentioning, was an actual funhouse they constructed based on one, and it matched the facade of it in size. So it's a fairly large set that allows them to kind of wander around as the camera follows in continuous shots. And the next 20 minutes is them kind of wandering around. But the thing that stuck out to me the most, and I found interesting, was there's almost, if you notice, there's very little score or music during this. It's silent minus like whispering and shuffling and the creaks of the funhouse. I thought it was effective in my opinion, which I think speaks to how successful the movie and the scene was.
I thought it was better without a score, yeah, because it's supposed to be quiet after hours and like just hearing the natural sounds. I thought was much better.
And
it was atmospheric. It built up the tension.
Yeah, and you're not hearing. It's not relying on anything but the filmmaking. Like it reminded me of like probably one of the most excruciating television shows in history is The Big Bang Theory, in my opinion, and that relies heavily on everything that is not writing, acting, and directing. Right. And I recently watched it without a laugh track. Have you guys ever seen that?
Penny dear, why don't you shoot another silver bullet my way?
Get one yourself.
Ooh, somebody's been taking bitchy pills.
God, he's an ass when he drinks.
Well, he's an ass when he doesn't. You just don't hear it.
I think we need to start entertaining the possibility that the shaming could go on for years.
Well, if that's the case, Penny will have to get satellite TV and maybe once a week want to vacuum through this place.
Yeah, not funny.
Oh my God, it's insane. Every joke feels like a baby shitting itself.
Well, there's also like a pause after every single line because they know there's
Right.
going to be a laugh track after every single line.
And they get so lazy. You can't believe that someone got paid to put that on paper. There isn't even a joke anymore. It's just something a bit off, and then they wait for the applause.
Yeah.
I watched it with no laugh track, and then I watched some of it with one guy laughing, which was also pretty good.
That I have to find. That sounds
I went
hilarious.
down that rabbit hole.
Women are your department. You want to take this?
Nah, it would just freak him out. Listen, before you leave, I should warn you, I'm a passionate man. It would help if you and Penny made out too.
Don't worry. We're planning to have sex right on the salad bowl.
Namaste, white people. Good news.
Well, going back to like the, not having a soundtrack, it kind of reminds me of Frankenstein, which we reviewed earlier.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a soundtrack to it, but in Frankenstein, it felt a little bit empty. Like there should have been something there. There should have been a little music. Where this, it didn't need it. It did it so effectively that it was unnoticeable, and it actually helped the movie along.
And you're waiting to hear, like, are they being quiet enough? Are they being quiet enough? What's that noise? I heard a creaking. What is that?
Right.
That's what you were doing. It drew you in quite a bit.
Yeah.
So anyhow, Richie sneaks off and he steals the money as they're trying to leave. They're kind of walking around trying to find a way out of the house. And Richie sneaks off for a minute and he steals the money from the box. He saw the monster take the 100 to give the hand job to the Carney lady, which was kind of a dipshit move, honestly.
It was a shitty move, and I did not see that coming at all.
No, I was like, what are you doing? Just get out of there. I mean, in fairness, I guess he thought they were going to exit the door. But anyhow, they wander around a bit. They can't get out. And they end up in the same area where they were before, where Madame Zena, right?
Yeah.
Madame Zena was killed. And the Barker is there now with the Frankenstein guy, Gunther, the monster, whatever you want to call him, who is his son. I think this is the first time we're realizing that.
I mean, with Carnies, I just figured they all had some sort of relation.
Right, he's related to every one of them. So the Barker sees the dead fortune teller, realizes the money's been taken, and lastly finds that the kids are there because Richie drops his lighter. Of course he does. I feel like every friend group has a Richie.
Yeah. Yep.
I like how the dad was pissed about the $100.
Yeah.
He's like, you gave her $100. I could have gotten one of those tent girls for 15.
Yeah.
Which would have been a massive upgrade.
Totally.
Yeah.
Would it have been? I don't know. Those 10 girls weren't.
The 10 girls probably would have had some diseases, but I mean, look at Gunther. What does he care?
Yeah.
I mean, Madame Zena was just barking orders. I'm like, what are you standing like an idiot for? I mean,
actually, I have
get on the ground. Take your clothes off.
Yeah, she was rough.
Lie down! What are you standing there like an idiot for?
There she is. God bless her. This is right after the point where where they find out what's going on. You get the big reveal of the monster, right? He's like beating his face. He finds out the money's gone. He's pissed off. He's like, "Beat yourself, son. Beat yourself, sir."
Like the way he was physically moving was like really good. Like I don't know, you could tell he's like freaking out and like I don't know. It's hard to explain without seeing it, but like the physical motions of this monster guy I thought was outstanding. And then I look at the guy's IMDb and he was a clown in Scarface and then didn't even make another movie for another 14 years.
Well, I have who and what he is coming up.
Okay.
Yeah, and how he got involved. It's kind of interesting. But after this happens, the guy looks up. He knows the kids are there.
Well, actually, if you go back, when he takes his mask off, he screams, and he does this awesome scream. I'll play that.
Oh yeah, we got that.
That is a plus scream.
It's a great reveal. I mean, it's a little bit Spirit Halloween mask-ish, but okay.
Did you know who did the makeup and the for Gunther, that made Gunther?
Yep, Rick Baker, right?
Yeah, Rick Baker from American Werewolf in London, Harry and the Hendersons. What did Gunther remind you of? Did he remind you of anything from American Werewolf in London? Do you remember the scenes where David was dreaming and like the Nazi monsters came in and started shooting the family?
Yeah.
That's what immediately came to mind. It looked like the Nazi monsters. And, the two movies were both made in 1981. So there had to be some crossover there.
Right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's funny because I watched American Werewolf in London. We referenced in one of our podcasts a while ago, maybe like best death scenes or something. I don't know, one of them. And I watched that scene and I remember the Nazis. I was like, what is this? My God. But it was cool. And you're right. It does. Now that I'm looking at it on our screen, it is a little bit reminiscent of.
I was not expecting him to look like that.
No, not at all. Looks great.
Yeah, when he took the
coming out and snot and everything.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit.
So Rick Baker did something else in 1981 too, one of the big gun horror movies. I don't know what it was, but he's uncredited for also being on, I think Empire Strikes Back. He did something on that, but right, it was like American Werewolf in London, something else in this. But anyhow.
Did he work on The Howling?
Yes, I think that was it. I'm not going to say definitively, but that's ringing a bell. So the Barker's now convincing his son he has to kill the kids who are witness to this murder. It's a dysfunctional but touching scene. I mean, showing the link between these two people.
Yeah. And I don't think he would have been as up for the murder without the money stolen.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Gunther isn't necessarily a bad guy or thing or whatever exactly he is. I mean, there's kind of similarities to Leatherface, who's kind of the biggest freak show in a dysfunctional family he feels the need to protect, maybe. I don't know. It's family dynamics here, and the acting, I think, is quite good with the dad. And the monster himself, this is what I was getting at, was a mime. They all went out drinking in Miami, and the director, Tobe Hooper, saw this guy who was a mime, and he saw his body movements. He's like, yeah, that's
nice.
The monster.
Yeah, good call.
The guy's probably like, yeah, I'm sitting here on the streets of Miami being a mime. I'll be in this movie. What's it pay? Anything? Awesome.
He was also in Monkey Bone.
The mime guy?
Yeah.
Oh, really? All right. So this must have been his first movie then, if that story is correct.
This was his second movie. No, first movie. Yeah, first movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's only been in 5 movies ever, and one of them was Almost Famous, and his scene is only in the director's cut.
So the scene goes on for a while, and he convinces him to kill the 4 kids. He says if he kills these 4, he will take him fishing.
There's a lot of manipulation between Gunther and his father.
Yeah, I'd love to see that Hallmark movie. I'll take you fishing, son. Okay. I think part of the problem, too, with this, everyone's an alcoholic, right? I mean, you have fortune tellers pounding around. The Barker says you could do a better job as a dad, but he drinks all the time.
You're right.
All right, one of my sponsor. Let's move on. Maybe gummies would have been better for him. So now we finally get to some of the kills, and things are starting. Now the movie's almost over, but here we go. So we got Richie telling a story that went on forever about something. I don't know.
I thought it was a cool story. I thought he was hiding in a closet from his brother, and he wanted to jump out and scare him. But as he was in the closet, he got to thinking, what if his brother knew that he was inside the closet and was standing just outside? And it turns out his brother did, and he locked him in the closet for 3 hours. But I thought the perspective that he was giving was effective. I mean, it was like, yeah, that would be pretty creepy. That would be scary.
Yeah, and I guess it's kind of speaking to the fact that, I mean, he knows we're here. I mean, obviously it's a direct connection to their story now, but anyhow, in the middle of this, a noose kind of drops down, wraps around his neck, and lifts him up. I mean, it was a pretty cool, unexpected death scene. Rope, I would say, got a little lucky, but okay.
Yeah.
Moments later, what do you guys think? I mean, I was glad to see someone die.
I was confused at how it happened, but it was a cool kill.
Looked good.
Yeah.
I mean, they started off kind of tame with the noose pulling him up. It was all right.
And then moments later, kind of a darkened figure on one of those carts comes at them. This is probably one of the better scenes. It's kind of really jerky and creaky. It's clearly Richie, but they don't realize that at all. Buzz throws an axe in his head.
Yeah, that was cool.
He was already dead, but now he's wicked dead.
Yeah.
He's extra dead.
I almost counted it as second kill for that one.
Right. So I mean, it looked good, and then you get the axe through his head for the rest of the movie. It's kind of cool. Then he kind of goes away, and the camera's in front of him as he's moving towards it, and Liz runs after the corpse with an axe in his head, and then she falls through a trap door, which I thought was pretty cool. The door kind of shoots up, and she's gone for now. So things are finally happening.
Mm-hmm. With 10 minutes left in the movie.
Yeah. And the previous scene, Amy's brother, who is still kicking around. I'm going to get through this quick because no one cares about him. He's apprehended by Carney, and the parents are called.
That's literally it. Yeah.
That's it. But I think the only reason why this happened, because this was pretty effective. Amy sees her parents and brother through a fan that she clearly can't crawl through, and they can't hear her scream through it. I have memories as a kid watching this fan scene, HBO late night, without my parents' permission, and like really being rattled by it.
Yeah, I mean, the fan scene was really cool, but it wasn't worth 10 minutes or 15 minutes of the side story of the kid just for that. I mean, they could have just had the parents drive to the carnival. Maybe she's here.
Right, like maybe she dropped something on the ground. Oh, she's at the carnival. Yeah, the kid was unnecessary, but the camera now drops from one fan to another. It drops to Liz, who's kind of also by a fan at the end of like an air shaft hall. And the monster approaches her, and she tries to get him off guard by saying she knows he likes girls and she can be nice to him. The monster's like, yeah, I'd hit that. Why not? I know you don't mean it, but hey, let's go anyhow. So she lures him in and stabs him with a dagger that, this is kind of funny. It was conveniently placed next to her. It's the dagger that fell out of Richie when he was lifted up by the noose, but it was like 10 or 15 feet behind where the trap door was.
Yeah.
But
it slid.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe someone accidentally kicked it, or maybe it was dragged along it could have been dragged along the cart, but probably not. But anyhow, she tries to do that. That doesn't work. He goes bananas and kills her. I mean, it's so well lit. You got the fan, you got the noise, you got the lighting, but it happens off camera. And she's thrashing. You kind of see it from the waist down. And to me, it's like you got the final girl and you got this girl. She's clearly not living because she's blonde and she's pretty sex forward. I thought her death should have been pretty good, and there's a giant fan there. Use that, right?
Right.
I that's what I thought was going to happen. Yeah.
It wasn't in the budget.
Yeah. I guess not. I think practical effects just weren't in the budget at all. Like they had 3 deaths or two thus far, and we didn't really see much of it. And I paused this scene once, and I did notice the guy or Gunther had a gigantic amount of drool coming from his mouth, as he did through most of the movie.
Yeah, it was so great. It added such a level of creepiness to it.
Yeah, he's a wicked drooler, man. So this leaves Buzz and Amy walking through the place looking to escape. And this is kind of cool. They're walking. I think the best part of this movie is walking by a Humpty Dumpty or some crazy ass clown or, some animatronic old lady kind of shifting or lit well and not working at all.
Mm-hmm.
But what was cool about this one is they're walking by the puppets and the attractions. And in the shadow is something that you think is another puppet, but it's the Barker. And I thought it was cool how he kind of came out from the Funhouse, and you thought he was part of it, but he was not.
Yeah, that was cool.
So he's got a gun, he steps out, and there's a confrontation. Buzz charges him, knocks the gun away, and they wrestle until Buzz throws him into a sword.
I was surprised at how good of a fight the Carney put up. Like, Buzz is pretty jacked, and he was kind of getting his ass kicked until the sword.
Yeah, he kind of wasn't afraid of him at all. Like,
no.
The Carney guy was like, well, what do you got? He's getting cocky with him.
Yeah.
The Carney guy's got old man strength.
Yeah, true.
Plus, he's a Carney.
Yeah, so. And Buzz probably just goes to the gym, but has never been in a fight in his life.
Right, he's not really strong. He's gym strong.
Yeah.
That's probably a good analogy. But what I thought was interesting, too, is in this carnival, Funhouse is a giant, sharp, like 3-foot sword as part of the attraction.
Just sticking straight out.
Sticking straight into the place where the cart goes. Like, how many people were hit in the face with that sword?
I couldn't even tell where it was or the purpose. Where they, I don't even know if they were in the basement at that point.
No, they're a part of the Carnival attractions. A giant 6-foot sharp as shit sword just kind of there.
It wasn't fake. It was just a real lance.
Well, it went through the guy.
No, that's what I
mean.
mean.
Leaned back into it and went all the way through his body.
No, that's what I mean. Like all the props
Yeah.
are fake, and then they have a real like lance just sticking out of nowhere.
Right. It'd be funny if they had one of those buckets that like had like napalm in it, and it just dropped down as people went under it.
That's real napalm.
Yeah, actual napalm.
Everything in this carnival is real.
Right. It's more like a Tucker and Dale versus Evil thing. These guys are trying to help them, but the carnival keeps killing them because it's so dangerous. All right, so now the Barker's dead, and the monster, I guess, drops from the ceiling. This place is like 9 stories tall. It's like a high rise that goes from town to town.
I
wrote in my notes, I was like, this is a huge fun house.
Yeah, it's gigantic. I took it that he jumped down from like another trapdoor or something.
Yeah, sure, give him that. And they have kind of a fight sequence. And at this point, I got to tell you, this final girl is not Ellen Ripley, man. I mean, the two of them are fighting. There's 3 or 4 opportunities. She could have grabbed the gun, ended things for him, or like helped in any way. But she just stood there like an idiot.
Because that's what I heard was one of the other differences in the Dean Koontz book. Instead of having her stand there and scream the whole movie, they actually had her do stuff.
Yeah, she wouldn't have to do much. Just go pick that gun up,
Yeah.
or grab any one of the dangerous weapons that are in the funhouse. You know, there's an
Right.
axe, there's a sword, there's this, that, the other. I don't know.
Just help in general.
Try.
Yeah.
Try a little bit. So anyhow, she runs away because she can't handle that, and then she decides to come back, and then she comes back to another off-camera death, but looks cool, like this giant animatronic clown that carries Buzz out through a door, and he died. I don't know. He's got like a little bit of a, I don't know, blood spot, like his pancreas burst or something. I don't know. He's got a blood spot somewhere in his lower
Well,
stomach.
the dad pulled him onto the sword.
Yeah, but that didn't seem to affect him when it happened. Is that how he
No,
died?
yeah, it stabbed him. It
Yeah.
stabbed him. It hurt him.
Okay.
But then we heard like a couple gunshots when he was wrestling Gunther, and then I don't know what happened. He was just dead.
Yeah, so he's dead. I think it was cool to see him, the clown, carry him out. I was like, all right, that's kind of creepy. It works.
I like that Gunther took the time to put him on the clown.
Yeah. For some reason.
I feel like Gunther wouldn't have been that playful.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure who would have done that. Maybe the other guy, but he's already dead.
Right.
So she kind of sees this. She goes a bit mad. And the next scene reminds me a little bit of Evil Dead 2. Remember when he's in the living room and all the things are laughing at him. And, you know, a lot of the puppets, the animatronic puppets in the funhouse are kind of going ballistic and in her face and interacting with her. Is she imagining it? Maybe. I don't know. But she runs through there and she ends up in kind of the belly of the beast. You know, it's a room with like gears and chains and all the equipment making the funhouse kind of move from below, which I thought was cool. I'm like, okay, this is what's happening. It's operating it. She kind of wanders around there for a few minutes and the monster kind of jumps at her. And I'm like, okay, it's a final showdown. And I don't know you guys saw, but the monster's demise kind of felt like a slapstick scene out of Naked Gun to me. I mean, she attacks him with a pipe. He grabs the pipe, throws it back, and electrocutes himself. And then he kind of into a fuse box, and then he kind of somehow gets tangled in a bunch of chains and pulleys and gets dragged along and gets stuck between 2 gears. She didn't do anything. He kind of accidentally killed himself.
But the thing is, we never see him die.
He's between the 2 gears, and
at his waist.
I mean,
we still never see him die.
Well, the screenwriter, I think his name was Larry or Lars Block, said, because in the commentary I read that in his screenplay that he didn't die. He was down there, and then he was stuck, and then the next scene she kind of comes out, and then the laughing lady comes back to life and starts laughing at her. That's supposed to symbolize he got himself free, and the funhouse started up again. Like he's no longer stuck in the gears. He's not there, and the funhouse is functioning again.
Funhouse 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, apparently, I feel like this would have been ripe for a sequel.
Yeah.
But that never happened. So
yeah.
It kind of ends well. Like she walks out there, she's kind of, you know, dealing with obviously some stress. She looks up, the fat lady's going, and they use that crane again, which pans back very slowly up and shows the entire funhouse. And it's kind of cool. It's like the next morning, and you got the morning carny folk doing their thing, emptying trash, and she kind of just walks through it, and that's it. Funhouse.
So are we to believe that Gunther's father did not inform anybody else about these kids? Because she just walks out and walks away, and nobody's paying her any attention.
She's barefoot and dirty and bloody, and
although it is a carnival, man. I mean, it's probably a dime a dozen. And also, the writer also said at the end, she was one of these animatronic puppets were gonna crack open, and there'd be a real human, there'd be a corpse in there. That's kind of where the bodies were being hidden. There was a lot in the screenplay that just didn't make it.
Sounds like half the movie got cut. So they had the fat lady animatronic sing, laugh at the end because it ain't over till the fat lady sings. It was supposed to be like a metaphor for that.
Oh yeah.
But
But anyhow,
yeah,
that is the Funhouse.
All right. So you want to go first, Frank?
The opening scene didn't make much sense. Joey's story didn't make a difference to this movie. Seemed like there was some filler here. That being said, it was really atmospheric. The Funhouse was a good area for this type of a film, and Gunther looked great. The kills could have been better. I'm gonna go with a 2.75.
All right. I gotta say, I like this movie better than I thought I would, and I think it was just because I was fascinated about like a really cool carnival that I had never experienced, and I probably won't like it as much on rewatch because of that. Like that, just I get it now. But I thought Gunther was a really cool reveal. I thought he was kind of scary. And I thought overall it was decent. I liked it. I'm going to give it a 3.5.
I was gonna go higher.
What'd you give it, Frank?
Until the end. I gave it a 2.75, and I was gonna go higher, but the ending, it just didn't stick for me because Gunther didn't die, and Amy just walked out and walked away, and there was no real conclusion to what we saw.
Yeah,
so I had
he did die theoretically, but he didn't look like the gears didn't look like they would have killed him. But
and he was still moving around when it cut to Amy walking out. It's not like he slumped over.
So I'm not counting him in my body count.
Okay.
I guess. I'm asking.
No, don't count.
I mean, I wouldn't, just because we didn't see him actually take his last breath.
Okay.
Yeah, just to honor the screenwriter, let's say he didn't die.
Okay, so the body count is 5.
Okay, fair enough. All right. So this movie was, again, it hit my childhood. The nostalgia is pretty strong there for me. But I haven't seen it in a long time. So I thought the opening was a bit dumb. I think doing something, you don't need a Scream opening for every movie, but I think doing something where a couple kids in the funhouse, get a kill in there would have been a little bit better. I mean, I thought the acting was fantastic across the board. And I thought what stole the show to me were these animatronic puppets and, the production design of the whole thing. I love the funhouse. I loved them walking through it. I loved hearing the creaking of the funhouse and seeing the guy with the axe in his head kind of go through it, and the Winston Churchill and the old lady going back and forth. I think my biggest complaint is they should have ditched the little kid and added another couple.
Mm-hmm.
Like they should have basically had another, they met their friends at the funhouse and they're going to be involved as well. And get to the funhouse 15 minutes earlier and kill those 2 kids off, and then the other 2, and have the deaths be a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Use the fan. I thought the end was good. Her kind of like deer in the headlights. Holy shit, what is this? The funhouse and the carnival itself brought it up a lot. The acting brought it up a lot. The story was really good. I was engaged in the characters. I'm going to give it a 3.5 as well.
Okay.
What did I give Maniac Cop? Do you have that?
2.7, 2.75.
Yeah, I wanted to go exactly the same for Funhouse.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
good.
You did.
Good.
You did. All right. So that brings us to our next movie. I had a movie planned, but you guys both picked 80s movies, and I didn't want to go 3 in a row with that. So I pivoted, and I really need to talk about this movie with people. So we are going to watch Tokyo Gore Police.
Oh, God. I haven't seen Jesus. Ow.
So yeah, it's you're gonna love
I
it.
haven't seen it, but it's way the fuck out there, isn't it?
It's so far out there. It's definitely
I'm
going to be the
excited.
weirdest movie we've done. And
Okay, I'm excited actually.
I'm
That's
very,
fantastic.
I'm very curious as to what you guys are going to think of this.
I haven't seen it. I've heard you talk about it, and I was like, do I want to watch this? I guess I'm watching it now. All right.
I'm forcing you to watch it now.
Yes, you are. And study it.
Oh, excellent. It's on Tubi.
Yep, it sure is. I love when movies are on Tubi. All right, so that is our show for today. Thank you for listening. 3 Basket Cases on all social media, 3 Basket Cases podcast at gmail.com if you want to email us, and we'll see you soon.
My love.